After choosing a land suitable for planting tea trees, the next steps are to choose tea tree cultivar, reclaim tea garden, and plant tea trees. In the following, let's take a look together at how to create a tea garden that is most suitable for tea tree growth and also good in soil and water conservation. You can view the suggested practices by clicking the screen button. Before reclaiming a tea garden, must first decide on cultivar of tea trees to be planted, buy required tea seedlings, and get ready in advance. In general, the methods of propagation tea trees can be roughly divided into 4 types, including seed propagation, layering propagation, cutting propagation, and grafting cutting propagation. Seed propagation is to use seeds that are born from male and female hybridizing pollination to breed offsprings. Layering beading is to bury a branch of tea tree into moist soil, and after it grew roots, it is cut off from mother plant to make it a new plant. Cutting propagation is to take out a part of vegetative organ of a tea tree, insert it into loose and moist soil, and use its regenerative capacity to make it grow roots, sprout, and become a new plant. Grafting cutting propagation is first to graft scion on rootstock, then cutting insert it into soil and use its regenerative capacity to make it grow roots, sprout, and become a new plant. At present, Taiwan tea trees are mainly based on the method of cutting propagation. In cutting propagation, it is necessary to choose and use clean soil with no impurities and with a weak acidity. Insert the cut tea branches into black plastic bags containing the soil and build a shading net of about 2 meters high and having a sunlight masking degree of 70% so that the tea seedlings are able to receive sunshine and does not allow moisture to evaporate too quickly. During the period, the shading net must be opened timely to make the tea seedlings undergo a hardiness treatment in order to increase survival rate of cutting seedlings. When the tea seedlings grow strong after 10 to 12 months, it can be permanently planted. The advantage of this propagation method is that it retains the good characteristics of the original tea tree. If want to reclaim a tea garden, it is recommended to give priority to a flat tea garden. The depth of plow falls about 60 to 70 centimeters, and it is necessary to pay attention to whether water conservation and drainage measures of the tea garden are perfect in order to avoid affecting the growth of tea trees. If need to carry out the reclamation on hillside land, should exactly well do the work of soil and water conservation. If want to plant tea trees, it is recommended to plant them between November and late March of each year, and it is better to plant them after rain when temperature is lower and when the soil is wet. The row spacing of tea tree planting is recommended to be about 150 to 180 centimeters apart for easy operation. The spacing between plants in a row is recommended to be about 40 to 50 centimeters. On the whole, the number of permanently planted tea trees is based on 12,000 to 14,000 plants per hectare. In addition, special attention should be paid to weed management in the seedling stage in order to avoid nutrients being taken away by weeds. But care also must be taken not to shake the roots of tea trees when weeding, because once the roots are injured, it is likely to hinder the normal growth of tea trees. Although Taiwan tea gardens are distributed throughout Taiwan, most of them are mainly hillside land. In recent years, the area of tea gardens in high altitude areas has also increased significantly. Therefore, when reclaiming tea gardens, it is necessary to do a good job of soil and water conservation. Now, let us understand the practices of soil and water conservation through the way of question thinking. Method 1. Digging and setting up drainage ditches. Digging and setting up drainage ditches around tea garden to prevent mountain flood or rainwater that cannot be vented timely from directly pouring into tea garden, and then drain the water from the drainage ditches set up according to terrain on 2 sides to prevent tea garden soil from being considerably lost with rainwater. Method 2. Terrace-type tea garden. By spacing the slopes at appropriate distance and constructing multiple terraces along contour line direction, the water flow velocity on the slopes during rain can be slowed down to prevent the soil from being washed and corroded away. Method 3. Planting windbreaks. Planting windbreak on windward side of tea garden can lower wind speed, reduce damage caused by strong wind blown on tea trees, and also lower the erosion of tea garden soil. For example, if the tea garden is often hit by north wind, then windbreak can be planted in the north side of the tea garden. Method 4. Covering or mulching. Covering refers to planting green manure crops or conducting grass plant cultivation between rows of tea trees in tea garden to reduce direct erosion of raindrops, causing soil and fertilizer loss. Later, the green manure crops can also be used as a source of nutrients for tea trees. Another practice is to conduct mulching. It refers to cover the soil between rows with inanimate objects. This will not only prevent weeds, but also reduce evaporation of moisture. Method 5. Contour farming method. Planting tea trees in parallel along contour line direction on slope surface can increase moisture infiltration into soil and achieve water conservation effect, and also inhibit runoff phenomenon on slopes and reduce soil erosion. After watching the previous introduction, do you have a preliminary concept of soil and water conservation methods? When carrying out reclamation of tea garden and plantation of tea trees, it is necessary to do a good job of soil and water conservation.